Let's dive straight into this explainer. I want to talk about that exact sinking feeling you get in the pit of your stomach. You absolutely know the one I'm talking about. You're sitting on your couch, checking your banking app, just to make sure you have enough to cover this week's groceries. And honestly, you just can't shake the creeping anxiety that you are fundamentally, permanently falling behind. Because you pull out your phone and the evidence is literally everywhere. Your old college roommate posting sunset drinks from some crazy expensive rooftop bar in Miami. The guy you sit next to at work, he just pulled into the parking lot in a brand new Tesla. Your neighbor is ripping out their kitchen cabinets for a custom renovation. Again. And meanwhile, you are staring at a bowl of leftover pasta, seriously wondering to yourself, did everyone else get some secret manual to money that I totally missed out on?
It is the absolute burning question of our modern economy. How is everyone affording this? Well, the answer I'm going to walk you through today is going to completely shatter everything you thought you knew about modern wealth. It's going to take a massive amount of pressure off your shoulders. But fair warning, it's also going to reveal a deeply uncomfortable truth about what we are actually looking at when we endlessly scroll.
Okay, so on the surface, you see these outward markers of success. The perfectly manicured lawns, the shiny luxury SUVs in the driveway, the solar panels. Everything screams, hey, look at us, we've made it. But beneath that shiny surface, the reality is entirely different. For a massive percentage of the population, these are not markers of wealth at all. They are actually indicators that these people are standing waist-deep in financial quicksand. Let's break down the brutal math behind that quicksand. A totally normal full-time American income, it's about $5,000 a month gross. Now factor in a standard home at current rates, that's roughly a $3,000 monthly payment. Add in a completely average financed SUV, boom, that's another $1,300. Do the math here. 86% of their gross pay vanishes before they even buy a single bag of groceries. They aren't rich. They are literally living on a razor's edge. Now, you may be thinking, okay, but surely these people are building massive net worths over time, right? Shockingly, no. According to Federal Reserve data, the median net worth of Americans under 35 is just $39,000. Think about that for a second. That influencer lifestyle you're constantly comparing yourself to, statistically, it is not built on actual wealth. It is entirely built on leverage. Which brings us to the first massive paradigm shift. Exactly 1/3 of young adults aged 18 to 34 are currently living with their parents. Now, if you make $45,000 a year but you don't pay rent or utilities, you suddenly have an enormous amount of true disposable cash flow. You can easily afford that crazy luxury car payment or those designer clothes because your foundational costs are zero. But wait, it goes even deeper than that. Recent data shows that 50% of parents with adult children provide them with regular financial assistance. And look, we aren't talking about mom and dad picking up the check at Olive Garden. The average amount is nearly $1,500 a month. That is rent assistance, that's car payments, phone bills, insurance premiums. This creates what I like to call the invisible income effect. When you see someone in their late 20s living in a luxury downtown high-rise and driving a BMW, there is a statistical likelihood that mom and dad are quietly subsidizing that lifestyle. But think about it. Venmo transfers from your parents never make it to Instagram. The feed only ever shows the Sunday brunch. You are comparing your fully independent, raw financial reality to someone else's heavily subsidized facade. Now, let's apply this exact same logic to investing. If you work in a corporate office, it constantly feels like everyone around you is a Wall Street genius except you. But here is the statistical reality. 38% of US adults have absolutely zero exposure to the stock market. None. Zilch. What you are experiencing is pure selection bias. The illusion of universal wealth is really just a loud minority dominating the conversation. So why does this illusion hurt us so much? Well, it comes down to our biology. Social comparison theory tells us that human beings are fundamentally hardwired to evaluate our own success by looking at the tribe around us. It's literally what kept us alive thousands of years ago. But the internet totally broke this biological mechanism. Your tribe used to be your literal next-door neighbors. Now, your comparison group has exploded to include billionaires, trust fund kids, and statistical outliers all over the globe, and your ancient brain simply cannot tell the difference. And this brings us right to the root cause of lifestyle creep, the reference group effect.
If your friend group starts leasing luxury cars and flying off to Europe every summer, your internal baseline for what is normal dangerously shifts. You start to feel completely broke, not because you actually are, but simply because your frame of reference has been deeply skewed by performative spenders. On top of that, the internet plays a massive trick on us with time. I call this the timeline compression illusion. Here's how it works in reality. Someone saves for 2 agonizing years for a car. 6 months later, they finally use hoarded credit card points for a trip. Months after that, they do a slow DIY renovation. But when you are scrolling on a random Tuesday night, all these isolated, spread out events are stacked perfectly together in your feed. It compresses years of grinding into 10 seconds of effortless luxury. We have got to start separating the visual flex from the hidden reality. The average American is sitting on about $6,000 in credit card debt. That pristine vacation photo looks exactly the same whether it was paid for in cash or slapped on a credit card at a suffocating 22% interest rate. The appearance is identical. But the hidden reality, the 72-month depreciating auto loans, the sleepless nights, the stress of living paycheck to paycheck on a 6-figure salary, is completely invisible to you. So what's the big takeaway here? How do we apply this? Simply put, the quiet financial wins don't get posted. Nobody is ever going to throw you a parade for paying off a credit card or quietly hitting a savings goal. But listen to me. If you are staying out of high-interest consumer debt, if you're saving a little bit of every paycheck and just living within your means, you are already doing better than a massive portion of the population. Those quiet, completely invisible choices are what actually build long-term stability. If you want to officially opt out of this toxic status game, here is the exact blueprint. It is incredibly boring, but it is bulletproof. 1. Spend less than you earn. 2. Invest the difference. 3. Avoid debt. 4. Repeat. Think about the math on this. If you choose a modest apartment for $1,500 instead of stressing over a $2,000 mortgage, and you drive a paid-off car instead of taking on a $700 monthly payment, you suddenly free up over $1,000 a month. Over 5 years, that is $60,000 in cash, simply for refusing to project a fake image. It is time to stop competing with a mirage. You are playing a rigged game where you are constantly comparing your messy, stressful internal reality to someone else's highly curated, heavily subsidized, debt-fueled external projection. It is not a fair fight, and you will lose every single time. You have to redefine what success looks like for you based on actual internal peace and stability, not stressful external validation. Because at the end of the day, true wealth is waking up without financial anxiety. It's the ability to quit a toxic job because you actually have options. It's walking into the grocery store and not having to check your bank balance first. The people who are truly winning are perfectly comfortable looking incredibly average to the outside world while they quietly build an unshakable foundation. If this explainer shifted how you view wealth, hit subscribe and drop a comment below letting me know if you've ever fallen for the fake rich illusion. Ask yourself today, are you spending your money to look successful, or are you keeping your money to actually become successful? The choice is entirely yours.